Fantastic, thanks. Hey everyone. Anthony, you are recording us today, right?
I am already set up and ready to go. Just
Perfect.
turned it on, so we are good.
Cool.
Glad to be here.
Uh, yeah, glad that you're here. So, you will then also record live streams that will happen through this session. Is that possible?
Yeah, like you talking about like screen shares.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what I'll do is I will make that the bigger screen, and I might even I'll turn off non-video participants so that can be the focus for that part of the meeting.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, what does it mean if you say you turn off non-video participants?
It basically, like right now, what I am seeing is the room that you're seeing with everybody's profiles. But once we go to the video mode, I can make it to where we only see the video so it can be as
Uh,
big as possible.
Perfect. That sounds good. Hey, links.
GM.
Jim,
GM.
you guys hear a lot of background noise on my end?
Not a lot, a little bit, but it's not much.
Okay. Let me know if it's annoying. Because on my end, the sun is going down and we have a lot of those insects that celebrate evening.
That's what it is. Yeah, I can hear those. It just sounds like white noise.
Yeah, cicadas, I think is that also in English?
Yeah, cicadas. I don't know how it's
Yeah,
pronounced. But
cicadas. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to load up the Notion page already. I'm gonna reshare the link real quick so in case you don't have it. There you go. And so Swell he wrote to me and links earlier that he is not going to be able to join. As a medical prevents him from joining. And um, apart from that, let's just see. Hey, Fiba, great to have you here. I believe, can someone remember whether GCal was joining? Because I know Hash Brown was not going to join. Okay, well then let's just kick this off. All right. So, hi everyone again, and welcome to the strategy refresher session of PM Guild. I'm going to share my screen real quick with the Notion page. And for today, we have, apart from the point that links, edit links, I'm going to come to that in a second, just to quickly agree on the logic and what I propose we talk about today. Last week we had our retrospective, and this part of the agenda has already collected all the items that were on I wish and I wonder, so the things that we want to change, improve on, or anything like that from the session. And Link, Swall, and me have talked about those items and seen how we can allocate them. I would like to spend a moment of this session today to just go through this and make sure everyone understands what we are thinking of here, and then embed that into our strategy. And in principle, what we did in the beginning of this season was we were creating a strategy whiteboard. It's called Plan on a Page. And on this whiteboard, we showed everything that we want to do in short notice and how that contributes to our long-term vision. And proposal for today is then to look at the 3 items that we had to stitch together short notice to get out the season 5 proposal, and see whether this is really what we want to focus on for the next season to still go into the direction of our vision, or if there is anything that we need to change, add, and expand. That's the idea for today. Is that fine with everyone?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Cool. Let's quickly look at that item. Links, you are asking for someone to run the retrospective for Bounty Board next week.
Yeah, if anyone's available, that would be great. I'd like to participate rather than moderate, so that's why I ask.
Yeah, just give me 1 second. Yeah, I'll take that one. Then also, so Renee takes it, and then we are going to record this so people can learn from this session. Also, links, did you already post this in the channel? I don't want to switch screens now back and forth. Is it there already, the sesh?
I will. There is a session there, I think. I can link you to it if you like.
Yeah. Links will post sesh link, because then others can also subscribe to that link if you wanna join the session and learn how to run a retrospective, then you can do so. Awesome. Then I'm going to start with the retrospective, just to keep our minds fresh from what we did last week, and then weave that into our strategy for next season. So we identified 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 themes. Let's for now ignore the stuff down here. That's all detailed and not important for the moment. And I'm going to just summarize for each item what we identified last week and what we probably are going to do out of it. And my request is for everyone, if you want to add something, if you feel something is missed, you want to see more activities on this, then this is the point where you can help to put actions on this. So what I'm saying now is just a proposal from having had a little bit of time on thinking of all of those themes. Part 1, onboarding. You know, we have the PM Start Here channel, and usually when people join our channel, then we will tell them to go to PM Start Here, start reading, and then join our weekly. However, the weekly then doesn't offer much, say, input for a new joiner. You just have to kind of go with the flow from the get-go. And it seems that from the retrospective, we would like to see more a clearer path for new project managers. We want to see just a little bit of clearer onboarding process, and then also this leads into the educational content that I'm going to touch on in a second. So the thought here is to really give the onboarding part to the talent work stream. So then fleshing out what activities would lead to a even improved onboarding process would then be fleshed out during the talent workstream sessions that are new, if you haven't noticed. Any comments to this? Links, do you want to add something, or is that good?
No, I think that makes sense. I think the one thing I'll say is that, like, for the talent, we're kind of also looking at it's like the onboarding and the vibes, I guess. We want to make this like a good place to be.
Yeah, let's call it that, so we make sure we also focus on this one. I fully agree. Thank you for the addition. So for talent work stream, I'm going to add that to make it explicit. Then structure and processes. In principle, the main pain point that was addressed here is that everyone would like to see more transparency on the Kanban board. First of all, let's go through the Kanban board in some sort of cadence, walk the board or something like that. And then let's just use the Kanban board more in the sense of encourage everyone to put whatever they do or going to do on the Kanban board, or the ideas that you want to see done, and let's put them on the Kanban board so someone can fetch them. I'm going to add a little bit more to this in the coming 1 or 2 weeks, just to give us all a little bit more guidance on how we could use the Kanban board. I think GCal had a great point in that if we put something on the Kanban board, can we then add a definition of done on this, maybe even a user story, depending on what we are talking about. I will take care of implementing this, and then it's actually on everyone to use it better. Questions to this point? Okay, cool. Educational content. Actually, this is going to be an action item for the educations work stream. And for me, the summary here would be that we want to make sure that whatever education we do in the guild, that we make it more transparent and more in writing or recorded, at least in a way to have it recyclable and usable by people if they haven't been able to join education sessions. And also the second thing that we want to do is do kind of a clearer path so everyone can understand a little bit more how we want to tackle education for every PM guild member, because I feel this is also something that maybe we can stress even more. One of the main reasons that you are investing your time in this guild is probably, next to vibes and just that you like these sessions, that this is about your personal growth and your skill development as project manager or as DAO member. So the more explicit we can make this path of growth, the better it is probably for every member. Okay, any comments to this one?
Renee, I just wanted to ask if you're sharing your screen or not, because if you are, I can't see.
I am trying. Am I or am I not?
We can't see your screen if you are sharing it.
No, it's not coming through.
Oh, that's strange. Good that you're asking. Let me try again. So, do you see my Discord now?
Now you're good.
Thanks. Okay, so then we have been talking on onboarding and vibes. We have been talking about structure and processes, more Kanban board. I've been now talking about educational content. I'm coming now to success measurements. On this one, the main point was that we want the KPIs to be more visible. I think this is going to be helping us to align all activities more to the interim steps that help us to achieve our vision. So this one is also an action item that I am going to take on and see how that's going to pan out. The other one, like I said, is going to be for the education work stream. On feedback, I think there were 2 items. One is, can we get feedback to the 3 role holders? and then can we get feedback on what makes people stick to the guild. I have put actually an item on the Kanban board. Let's quickly see. This should be here. And I've tried to also add a definition of done. So this is an example on a item that someone can pull if you're interested in. And I wanted to use this as an example as to how we can use just things that are pretty clear cut as to what we want to do and put this on the Kanban board, and whoever has time and feels that this is a good thing they can do can pick this up. Oh. Okay. Marketing of services. This is one that when Lynx, Swall, and me were discussing, the idea was if we can do this like as a joint activity. So questions on this were, how can we get guilds and projects to use us more, and how can we involve the DAO projects more in the PM guild? And for those, we have started the respective thread. Maybe some of you have seen it. Let me just show this real quick. This one, I think I should change the settings here to make it visible longer. So whenever you have ideas about how to get guilds and projects more involved, then put stuff here and we can then operationalize it thereafter. And the last one is thought leadership. This is something that I think I've talked about a few times already. Let's try and set up a meeting series where experienced agilists promote our goals to be a thought leadership in the space. Some of you may know that Justice is running the Modern Agilist podcast together with a friend, and also we had Sheep to Moon connect to our guild, who is a very experienced agile coach. We have people that are very experienced in this guild. So chances are, talking to these people, we will be able to create something that also pushes this item further. That's everything extracted out of the retro. So this is a good point to stop for a second and ask you, do you have anything to add to the output of the retro? Not everything has been operationalized at this point in time. So hopefully we will see that in the coming 1-2 weeks, we will see everything as action items on the Kanban board. But if you feel there is something from the retro that is unaddressed, please say it now. And else we are going to continue with the strategy part.
Yeah, links the education content section. Are we going to have like what's education guild does work session and stuff? Will that be included or I'm not seeing it?
I don't quite understand what you're saying. Are you asking if we're going to do something similar to what the Education Guild does?
Yeah, like the work session, for those that want to learn about PM project management.
I think it would be good to have regular work sessions, but I think it'll be under Swole Chass's umbrella of education. I think if anyone wants to run a work session, honestly, I think it would be great if someone wanted to run like a how to do a retro work session every once in a while, maybe just when we do a retro, or like little education sessions like that. If anyone wants to run one, I definitely think that we should find budget in the guild budget to do that kind of stuff. But I think it's going to be up to the initiative of Swole Chass or any individual PM guild member who wants to do that.
Oh, okay.
Thanks. More points? Okay. Then let's move on to
Oh, sorry,
strategy.
sorry. I have one more question. How are we sure people add value or help the structure and process? The second point. What does can you explain a bit more? Yeah.
Yeah. I think this point was, I wrote this in the retrospective, and what I wanted is to get more clarity on how new guild members can add value, because I have seen that many new guild members join the guild, and then one of the first interactions is like asking, I'm here, hey, I'm excited, how can I help? And usually then, like you may have seen also oftentimes in the DAO, the answer will be, well, just look around you, there is things to do, just pick up whatever you think is a good thing for you. But I think if we don't have transparency on what is lying around to be done, then how can you pick up something? So this is essentially through the Kanban board, using it more, we will address this, because then ultimately you will see things that you can pick up.
Oh, okay. So like there'll be some few tasks in the Kanban board. When new member join, they can just go to the Kanban board and pick a few tasks they want to start on, right?
Yes, exactly.
Well, they won't be able to
Okay.
pick the task by themselves until they get added to the Notion. But yeah, if someone wants to, they can raise their hand. They can say like, "Hey, I would love to do this task," and someone can assign it to them.
Okay, cool. That's nice.
Okay. And
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm quite new here. How does one get access to the Kanban board?
So right now it's just like our active members, based upon the calculation of active members that I did last week. They're the ones who have access. But if you see a task that you wanted to do and you're like, hey, I would love access to that, we can give you access to that task. Anyone can read it, not anyone can edit it. Sorry, I should make that clear. Anyone can read it, and you can find the link to the Kanban boards in the PM Start Here channel. They're on our Notion.
Thank you.
is that good? Right. Okay, then let's take a look at strategy. I'm going to quickly open plan on a page. So let's get everyone oriented on this one. So this is what we created some time ago in the beginning of the season. And of course, it's now way too small to read, but just to orient you how to read this in general. And plan on a page is also in PM Start Here. So if you want to open it, I can also share the link real quick in the channel. So you can also look at it for yourself if you want. I hope you can access it. If not, then I'm afraid I won't be able to manage access issues now. So it can be read the following. On the very right hand, we have the long-term outcome. So what is it that we want to achieve in the first year? Or maybe this is going to be even further out than in a year. And then it gets even granular. This is what we did at the beginning of the season. So everything you see here is the stuff that we planned for season 4. And so I was looking at this one, which was back beginning of season 4, our medium-term goal for the goals for season 5. So this means in principle, everything now moves one notch to the left. This one goes here. This one is completed at the end of season 4. And this is part of season 5. And we can then even think of medium-term outcomes if we achieve season 5's goals. So I'm thinking maybe I can move this a little bit. So we will have space to create something in between. And from a principal perspective, I'm going to touch on the items that we also entered into the season 5 proposal, and then let's see if this is really what we think is realistic for the coming season, and also is this our focus, or do we want to expand on that? And there is, maybe I will just go to the to this one, because this is a little bit better formulated. So three items. PM Guild is a place of education where PMs get skilled on relevant topics to grow as person and optimize the success of their project. So that's the goal. To make progress to this strategic goal, we will create an education plan that is oriented at different levels of skills. Bonus points if education elements are documented at the end of the season, so they can be repeatedly used. Question. Is this something first of all, do you understand? And is this something, when we look at education, so you can see this is education, then this is more on talent, and then there is the thought leadership part. Is this the part on education that you feel will help for the coming season? Or is there something else that's going through your mind?
So is that question directed to us or someone else?
No, to everyone. Do you understand this? So this is our goal for education in season 5. Maybe I can say a few more words to it. At the moment, when we talk about education of project managers, then if you are in the meetings, then sometimes we have education sessions, but sometimes not. Like today, we don't have an education session. So currently, we don't have a real structure as to how to set up our education, but we want to be a hub for education of project managers. So I feel one of the main things that are needed is a clear education plan, and that is ideally, say, differentiated on the skills of a project manager, so that if you are absolute beginner and you don't have a clue about project management, you can still learn something. But also if you are very experienced, then also there is things that you can learn. Maybe we will need external speakers then for this, or external guests or something like that to address this item. But I think these plans would be something that would evolve our education track. And I'm wondering if you see this like I see.
So this point speaks to creating a plan for season 5, or sorry, a plan in season 5, but it may not be actualized in season 5.
Yeah, that's how I feel bonus points come into play. So bonus points if education elements are documented at the end of the season. So I feel this means that it's actionalized. I don't know if that's a correct term, but if that is put into action during season 5, then this is also something that we should reach for. But I think it's kind of a stretch goal, because I believe to create educational content, of course, we can do link collections, right? So everything that we believe is a good internet resource that helps you to skill up. Maybe there is also some online university stuff or something like that that we feel makes sense, then we can integrate this. But creating our own education elements will just take a moment, as we've seen from retrospectives as well.
I think like the big thing to note is that towards our vision of being the mecca of Web3 PM, what that means is like that there needs to be a reason for people to be here, and I think these like building the foundation of education is what this is about. Is like kind of like creating a structure for education and then starting to fill in those gaps with either content or workshops or videos or however we want to do it.
Yeah, that makes sense, and that's kind of what I was thinking when I asked the question. If the intent is to create a plan to educate people, we also want to engage and attract new talent. So it sounds like you have a pretty good idea of what you're going to do in the interim. While the plan is being developed, you'll provide links to resources externally, and yeah, maybe season 6 will see the plan being actioned, kind of thing. Is that right? Am I understanding accurate?
Yeah, I think that is pretty precise. What I would like to add is, or emphasize, is what Links just said when he was saying fill in the gaps. I believe we will not want to limit us to the extent that just in season 5 we develop the plan and then we actionalize it on season 6, but just we will start in season 5, but probably we will not be at the end of season 5. At season 5.
Okay, that makes sense. Thanks.
Cool. Further ideas, thoughts?
But if I understand correctly, like I thought some of the workshops that were during the weekly meetings are kind of already part of an education plan if those were recorded. I think they were useful, like the one that Justice started. I guess what I'm trying to say is perhaps like maybe it's not like completely starting from like point 0, but kind of looking at what has already been accomplished and kind of build from there.
Absolute fair point. And I believe what we did so far is great because we experimented with the different ways of sharing education. With Justice, we had like a full session of 1 hour. We also had a few sessions where just one of us was talking a little bit about a specific agile project management topic. What I feel we can improve on is the structure in this, aligning it with our skill tree, right? Because I feel the skill tree, we chose it to at least define well what we want to educate ourselves on, and then we should also align a plan to this skill tree. Okay. More points to this? Cool. So, second one on talents. Links, this is something that we didn't talk about when we had the trilateral thing earlier this week, but it is the part that we added to the forum proposal. So maybe we should just see if this is really something that we want to do in season 5. And in the proposal, it's worded, we will do a structured assessment with each project to discover how we can match our project management talents with needs of the projects.
Yeah. So I think like we'll do less of a structured assessment with each project and more of like an iterative and experimental view in projects and how we can get PMs engaged in a way that works for both the project and PMs. But the key point here is connecting projects with our talent. So we have like, we have kind of the bare bones of an intake system. Now we kind of like, as people come into the guild, there's a start here. There's like some like, let's say not perfect, but there's some golden path for people to get involved. So we definitely want to beef that up, but also we want to start looking a little bit more externally. And if we do it in an experimental way, we can kind of see like, well, what are these projects looking for? I think the retrospectives is a good look, but like recently I posted a message, we need a PM on Bounty Board. And that's going to be like one of the experiments in my mind on how we can engage PMs with other projects. And so like learning ourselves through our own efforts, applying PM principles to our talent scouting, I think will, that's the intent behind that. But I absolutely think that makes sense.
I try to reword it a little bit to hopefully reflect and skew it a little bit more to your idea, which I absolutely love. That's great. More ideas on this point from others?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Thank you for your feedback. Okay. Third point. And this one, I think I've mentioned already, so this is more a reiteration. PM Guild is a place of thought leadership where we think and write about the future of DAO work structure from a PM perspective. And the idea is to launch a roundtable, I called it here, but essentially it will be a meeting maybe every 3 weeks, maybe every 4 weeks, with people in this guild, but also others that are experienced and are interested in exploring Agile in Web3 together with us. And ideally, then it would be under our branding platform or something like that, or at least we are part of every of those discussions, so we establish our footprint of thought leadership in this area. I'm wondering if to reach this item also we can make even more use of our Twitter page. Is this something that you guys feel would be useful?
I think our Twitter page and our Notion page, like we should be like for our thought leadership pieces, they should be kind of structured in a way that are easy to consume and easy to share. Maybe Notion's not necessarily the best place. I'm just saying Twitter's not great for long form, but it's great for linking.
So you're thinking Medium, Substack, or something like that?
Yeah, Papyrus is the Web3 version of Substack, and it allows like email list integration. There's also like Mirror, which is like kind of like the Web3 medium, but it's not really. Both Justice and I have Mirror accounts that we sometimes write to. Maybe we could like create like a group account for the PM Guild, but it doesn't do multi-sig, so it would have to be like owned by someone.
Is it spelled like this? Written like this? Papyrus?
Yeah, I think so. Papyrus is something different now, actually. I forget what it's called. 1 second, let me look.
Here's nice because you can turn your work into NFTs. I don't know if that's appealing in the long run, or if Papyrus has that functionality. But it's something I've used in the past with different groups, and it's nice. But definitely Twitter. I think any kind of engagement and outreach, we're going to get a lot of. We're going to reach a lot of people on Twitter.
Okay. Good.
Here's a quick question for the group. I'm wondering, based upon the purpose of the Project Management Guild, how would you force rank these 3 bullets if you were to take the step back and say, here's the purpose of the guild and what we really should be focusing on?
Good question.
Because the first bullet and the third bullet, it seems like they're related, and especially because of the way that you were talking about, okay, yes, we need to establish a foundation around education based upon references that are coming, that can be, we're not reinventing the wheel. Project management, product management has been around for a while. We should go out there and find some things that we can reference. It seems like a natural evolution of that is thought leadership. Okay, so how, based upon existing leading practices, are we coming to the table with something that's Web3 or Bankless specific? And that's the thought leadership piece. So those 2 things feel related. And then it feels like, sorry.
Yeah, all 3 of them are related, and it's kind of like hopefully a virtuous cycle. Right now, I would rank them in the order that they are personally, because what we have right now is we have a bunch of people, a bunch of active members who are interested in project management, becoming better at project management. So I think like the most direct thing we could do is to create some educational content either for our own members or even people beyond them. So for our own members, educational content, and it can help us create more connections outside. I think as well, as we like talking about how we can serve our own members, our PM Guild members, creating connections with projects is also something that we can do to help educate them, help create value for them in being at the guild, create like a thing for them to do. Hey, Polito, can you mute yourself? You're getting a lot of feedback. Thanks a lot. And then finally, I think the thought leadership is like, ideally we would have like a thought leadership stuff ready, but we don't. So, we kind of have to work on it as we go. And everything we do in that space should, I think, touch everything else that we do. And that like, as someone posts a new thought, we should be able to talk about it, look at it critically. What does it mean for Web3? Does it work in Web3? So I do think they're all interconnected, but if I had to rank them, I'd rank them in the order that they're there.
I agree to this. And maybe Lynx, you already said this. So maybe just to reinforce, I feel when it comes to the guild in the DAO, that is the perfect example of a group of people that are playing the infinite game. And I believe the perpetual mission of the guild, and also, if you will, the survival instinct of the guild, is give value to contributors to come back and get educated and grow. Because unless you don't feel that you're growing and that you're learning something, then you're not coming back. So therefore, for me, educate ourselves is for me the absolute priority. And then, of course, as a second priority, being of value for the DAO. And as a third priority, then being a thought leader in the space. Makes sense to me.
I agree with Lynx about, like, to me personally, this order kind of reflects what I would like from the guild. But I'm also interested in sort of newcomers and people who have joined sort of this season. What are they looking for as well when they're joining these meetings?
So Fibo, you're asking everyone that has joined in this season, do you share the ranking that we're currently showing, right?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of from someone who just has gotten involved over the last week, so I am as green as they come, I think, at this point. I'm more open-minded, just trying to absorb as much as I can. It sounds reasonable. I think if I think about this guild and the DAO as a whole and its sustainability over time, as well as even if I look at the the plan on a page. I'm wondering if over time that second bullet might take a more prominent role. But for right now, it makes sense that in the forming, as the guild is coming together, as we're trying to establish not only the guild but also the DAO, that education would be a really important function. And I'm also wondering, it begs the question to me, like how closely you then might want to tie this guild to the education guild and some of their activities.
For me, I always kind of look at those kinds of links that happen as kind of like a member initiative more than like a top level initiative. I see that we have like some members here from the Education Guild. They probably have a lot to offer in that front. I think like that cross pollination is great, but like I wouldn't say that like we necessarily at this particular season right now need like a structured connection with the Education Guild necessarily. I'm open to hearing different on that, but I definitely think we haven't gotten to the point where we're like, well, how do we actually do this? I feel like the issue is that we haven't even tried yet to do those kinds of things.
Yeah, I think organic is probably a reasonable way of working through it.
I was just wondering, can someone tell me the mission of the Education Guild? It's like the overarching theme. Who is educated by the Education Guild?
Jim, can I say something about that? Okay, well, actually, the target of the Education Guild, sorry, is not restricted to just the Education Guild. It's like that wide, trying to make especially new joiners or new folks, get accustomed to things like already in the DAO, like how to search, how to use calendar, how to RSVP for meetings, how to coordinate. Also, and then also knowledge sessions that help people to be able to utilize their bank, understand liquidity pool, understand some DeFi protocols, DEX protocols as well. So yeah, it's generally surrounding everything that makes one being able to come up to speed with other should I call them guilds? So big guys that are already in the DAO. So that's it.
Cool. Well, then understood, and that makes a ton of sense. And then I absolutely share the view of those that said before there may be an overlap at some point in time, but maybe not at this point. Cool. Do you feel that when we look at these 3 bullets, if we were to operationalize them, then we would have a good set of things to do for the next season? Is there anything that you feel is missing?
I think these represent a lot of work for one season. And I think they, from what I understand, I'm new, like Holster, but from what I understand of the guild, these are, I think this is a great place to start, or a great way to start these 3.
Other comments? Okay.
The only other thing I'd say on the second bullet, I'm wondering, and on the more tactical side, is there a more specific way to make that real. So clearinghouse, some sort of, what is the tool by which, and maybe that's the question it's intended to answer, but we might be able to be more explicit about that in the description there. Evaluate and experiment with projects to discover how we can match our talents with the needs of projects. Is there a portfolio list somewhere? Maybe it's already a Kanban board that I'm just not aware of, given my, previously mentioned level of ignorance that's just pegged across the DAO. I'm not sure, but that might be another thing to just call out, is like how to more efficiently work with either an existing tool or develop the tool that is the clearinghouse portfolio or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I think I get your point, and I believe, speaking for what Lynx said in the beginning, I hope, Lynx, we are aligned, as we are often aligned, as we find out after we talked, when we are trying to tackle this topic with an agile mindset, then probably the question of the right tool to match this will follow the first experiments of the matching process, learning what are the needs that really arise through this matching, and then ultimately, if you will, the features for whatever tool is needed will arise from these experiments.
Yeah, and there's multiple ways to do this. I'm working on one track myself, but if you have another track that you wanted to work on, certainly be open to that as well. The talent, the talent work stream meets on Wednesdays, about an hour before this meeting started. So, that's just a little call out for everyone else. If you're interested in this kind of stuff, we'll dig into it a little bit more.
Cool. I think, if I am not completely mistaken, we have, 1 second, we have 2 more sessions before this season ends, and we're going into the app. Should we do a session on operationalizing this, or should we say we give the first one to Swalt's work stream, the second one to the talent work stream of Lynx, and this one I can take on, of course, and then we operationalize that in separate breakout sessions, and then bring everything together on the Kanban board? Or do you feel it's important that we have the whole team there for everything?
I personally think we should split it up, because I think some people will be more interested in education, and I think the group that we have now is pretty large to discuss some of this stuff. But and one thing I would like to also mention is that we'll likely have role holder elections in the coming weeks. So it might not be me, Swolchas, and Renee. It might be someone else who's taking on the coordinator, talent scout, or education offices. So, but I do agree. In general, we should do that. We should send it off to our individual work streams.
Cool. Sounds good. And let's do that. That's pretty much all from my end, with the exception of meme of the week. If you're new to this group, then we are always trying to identify meme of the week for a week to post it into our Twitter page. If you think that something today was a good meme, then, or a good comment for Twitter, then you're free to add it here or add it in the channel. And then I'll put up a poll as always and ask if Wiki1 can up it to our Twitter page as soon as the poll is done. This one links I'm going to set up as a Kanban item in a minute. Good. Is there anything open? We have 5 more minutes, but I am actually done on the agenda. No? All right, then we're giving ourselves back 5 more minutes. And with that, I wish everyone a great weekend. Thank you very much for joining and helping fleshing out the next season. This was a good session.
Thanks for driving, Renee. Well done.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Renee.
everybody.
Thanks, everyone else.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.